Hello friends, and welcome back to yet another video from the series Web Automation with Selenium. We have already seen how Selenium can help us achieve automation and testing. So in this series we are using it for web automation. We have already seen how to set up the environment like browser and all, WebDriver, etc. We have also seen in last video how we can configure Chrome option to achieve some desirable configuration. In this video, we are going to have a real project so we can demonstrate the things we have learned. So my use case is when I reset my router, the every setting goes away and I have to reassign every device on my network static IP. So why I need this? Because I want to run my router in AP mode, but I tried running it. I had to reset it, but my desktop doesn't work, and I had to switch back to NAT mode. So I have a double NAT right now. So I have two routers, one coming from the ISP, another I have pulled an Ethernet cable to my room. First thing I need to do is to basically configure the static IP. So let's get started. By the end of this video, you should be able to interact with the web page, like clicking it, typing on it, and pressing buttons, and one more button I have to click. So we will see how we can achieve this. In today's video, as I already have mentioned it here, we will learn to find an element. So to click an element, like if I want to, so my router page loads at this page and I have to click on advanced. That is first of the thing, and I need to click on the first input here under static. I have to fill this and this and this, and I have to click this. I have do this a couple of times. I have a JSON of these three fields. I'm gonna iterate over that data. If you have not already familiarized yourself with the DOM document object model, this is a good time to start. As you can see, if we don't use Selenium and use vanilla JavaScript, we have things like query selector all, and we give a tag name to this, and it returns a list of p elements. Similarly, there are many other functions. Get element by ID, and we also have CSS class. So these things will translate to Selenium, because as we can see here, like the elements part of WebDriver documentation talks about how we deal with the DOM elements. So we'll be using that concept to find our elements. So let's proceed to the code. Here you can see I have imported some modules. We will see how we are using them. I also have some data for this IP address field, MAC address, and remark. So these are not actually real data. I'm using fake data to proceed with this tutorial. We have already seen this get. Next thing we are gonna encounter in this script is WebDriver wait. We have imported it here. So talking about wait, if we go to the documentation, we see we have two types of waits, the implicit waits and explicit waits. So today we are using explicit wait, and we pass it the driver we created, and we tell it a max timeout in seconds. And what are we waiting for? We are waiting for a condition. Yeah, this waits for element to be clickable. Then we actually go ahead and find it by ID. So let's first see what conditions we have. Here I have opened documentation page for Selenium API, and here we can see multiple expected condition, and we are basically not going to use all of them, but a subset of them, like elements to be clickable. Let's go ahead to our example problem statement. So I land on this page when I open this IP address. Then we need to click here. So we actually need to find what element it is. So for that I'm going to inspect it. And I would want to click on this one, not the inner one. Like I can click basically anyone, but I have went ahead with advanced wrap. So I find that element when it is clickable, and then I click it. Then I reach this page. Then I'm going to iterate over my JSON here. like running a for loop, and then again we wait for presence of an element. Like you can go through that documentation again and see what options we have. Then we find this static IP field. It has an ID of static IP. So I selected that, and we are interacting with keyboard here with send key. All right. We have already seen how to interact with the mouse. Now we are doing the send keys. So this basically fills the first column from this JSON. Similarly, I go ahead and locate other tags and set those values. Then we have another way of finding things. Like I have used find element here, and I am using CSS selector. And if you are familiar with CSS, writing CSS, it will be easy to understand what this is. So I am targeting this particular element here. Let's see what it is. It is actually this button. Static head and this. So I am basically clicking on that, and for each row I am waiting for 2 seconds. Then I have find out the location of this OK button. Basically it has ID of submit. There is one more way to find thing, and it's worth mentioning it here. So when you visit a website, basically you can right click over it and copy the XPath, and it looks something like this. Yeah, maybe let's copy full XPath. Yeah, so in DOM you give it the number of nodes, like not number of nodes, the name of the tags. And then inside HTML we have body, inside body we have div, inside div we have footer, and so on and so forth. This is the second div inside this div, and inside there is first button. So this is also a fail-safe way of doing things. So you don't need to do all CSS selectors and IDs and all. Many people prefer to do it the XPath way. It's just preferential, but I just felt like to mention it. So let's go ahead and run this script. You can see after each 2 second new entry is fed. If you can see how fast it is. So it has clicked the OK button, and I had written the script till that point only. And if I refresh this page right now, I'll see the entries populated. So here it is. So you see how easy it is to automate stuff with Selenium. Now I can easily go ahead and reset my router and experiment with merging my network. This was just using a subset of commands from Selenium, the subset of API from Selenium. There are a lot of them in the documentation, so you should go through it. Like mostly the weights, the element, and the interaction are the main ones. But without using all of them, we are already able to do some automation. So it's not necessary to learn all the things, but just for sake of completeness, I have mentioned it here. So go ahead and do your automation. I hope this series was helpful to you. If it was useful to you, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and please subscribe and turn on the bell notification. It will help me grow and keep me motivated.